What is up, everybody? Welcome to another fresh take. Vicky, how are you?
I am good. What's going on?
All right. So this week we got Moon Knight episode 4 and Halo episode 5. So we're gonna start this one off with Moon Knight episode 4 entitled The Tomb. Uh okay, so basically Universal Disney just tried you and basically showed you how to make a better mummy movie than y'all did. I, that's the gist of this episode, basically. Watch us do Mummy in 53 minutes.
The original Mummy's still better.
I'm just saying to watch us do our version, though. I'm like, okay, so because basically that's pretty much what it is. It picks up right where the last episode left off, and apparently Khonshu ain't the only person encased in stone. There's a whole wall full of gods encased in or beings encased in stone. So that makes sense as to why there were only there was 4 or 5 in that tribunal, basically. Last episode. This one, we get a little bit more of Layla. We get a little bit more of Mark, especially with what happened in the original of how he got Khonshu to how he became Moon Knight, basically, I guess you could say. It's cliched as I don't know what to me. It's just a cliche of it's the most cliched thing in the world, and I know I've seen a lot of stuff, so yeah, it's very cliche. Like you can see it coming from a mile away, like what they were saying happened, how it happened. I'm like, yeah, you could have just showed us that, but I'm glad they just told us, just so we won't have to deal with it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they basically his work team went with her dad to that tomb, and one of his team members got a little overzealous and killed him. Essentially,
not overzealous. They wanted everything, so they killed everybody to take it all.
Like I said, overzealous. So they killed everybody, and unfortunately, her dad died. Mark didn't because of the whole deal with Khonshu.
Yeah.
So that's how that pretty much gets talked about. Now, the good thing about this episode was, like I said, this is like their take on the mummy. So there's a couple of things that they do in here, and the horror stuff is kind of bad this episode. So you handle that.
No, not that part. Real quick. So, multiple personality disorder or a dissociative identity disorders, as is actually currently called, occurs due to a traumatic event that is too much for the host personality to handle. So therefore, other personalities are formed to kind of deal with aspects of their life that's just caused too much anxiety and everything like that. So in that moment when he was betrayed, is that when the personalities came about? Having yourself being killed by someone who you considered a friend, that's a traumatic enough event for a personality split to occur.
Good question, because in the comics, he was always like that.
He was always like that.
Yeah. So, but like I said, they do adapt stuff a little bit differently. So I don't know. Maybe that's what they're gonna go with.
Because then if it's going by the comics and he was always like that, then a lot of times the traumatic event is usually essay related on a child.
Ah, okay.
So that's why it was like, if it's doing adulthood, then I'm gonna say when he almost died, which is a pretty good traumatic event, Yeah. The other one is way darker. I'm sorry. What was your statement before I?
Just the horror stuff. I was gonna let you talk about the horror stuff that happened this week, like the mummy cutting the dude out.
Oh yeah, that was so cool. The little
open surgery.
The mummy, what was he? One of the priestess?
One of the priests, yeah. One of the guard priests or whatever.
Yeah, was just like, oh, fresh body. He was like, I'm gonna perform
open heart surgery.
Well, not even open heart surgery. Wasn't he just preparing him for mummification, but he was still alive? He was like, okay, we're just gonna do this, throw this in this jar.
Which I sure enough thought Steven was about to throw up. I'm like, you finna get all y'all killed.
Oh my gosh, that was hilarious. I was like, man, oh man. But then it was cool because, while all this is happening, you then have. Well, no, go ahead. I'm jumping too fast forward.
Okay. Well, that scene funny and scary and a little bit disturbing at the same time because they do get jugged and stuff thrown in them jars, like right by old girl head because she was still on the ground trying to figure this stuff out. Now, before then, like Steven is he's the perfect person to take into the tube because he knows all this stuff. Mark don't know none of this stuff, so it was the smart idea for Steven to be in control. Of course, Mark did not like that because, and this is what I want to ask you: Is it wrong for Steven to have the hots for Layla, even though they're in the same body?
I mean, technically, they're part of the same personality. If it's dissociative identity disorder, if it's classic dissociative identity disorder, they're all one person anyway. Yeah. So technically, they would fall in love with the same person.
I'm like, because Mark got a little bit upset, which I thought was hilarious, making him punch himself. Hilarity. But I'm like, bro, y'all the same person. It's not really okay. Okay. I'm just gonna take that as that was one of the supposed to be lighthearted moments of the episode. Mm-hmm. But so after dude gets eviscerated, of course they had to make a run for it. So Layla is the distraction, and Layla runs. That's where the jump scare part comes in. You see it coming from a mile away if you watched anything in the last 10 years. You've seen it coming a mile away, so it didn't affect me at all. But it is a good visual shot. Once again, they're doing the Mummy better than Universal does.
Just saying. I'm saying that because it's not true.
I'm saying it because it's true. Y'all watch the episode and judge for yourself. I'm just saying,
like it's a good movie thing that they did, but it's not the Mummy. The Mummy is leave the Mummy alone.
Okay, so you like that third Mummy movie? All right, then. That being said,
I think we can talk about the first Mummy movie.
Yeah, the first two. I would say like the first two. The first two, you can tell like this was like whoever wrote this episode, they clearly watched the first two Mummy movies, the Stephen Sommers ones. Yeah, the ones that Stephen Sommers did. You can tell because it's just the way it looks, the way the design of the set is. It's like y'all really did look at those first two Mummy movies to do this, and because especially in the scene where they're trying to figure out where Amit's stone encasing thing is, and it's in Alexander the Great's mummified.
Yeah, so I thought that was cool. The breaking down the Eye of Horus and what each part meant, and then from there, it's like, oh wait, King,
Alexander
the Great was like he was the mouth of her, so he's like, okay, so now I actually have to put my hand down his mouth and pull this thing out.
Yeah.
I was like, ew. And, but then here's the part. It felt like Quill and Thanos all over again. Like we
Oh yeah.
are in a critical moment. I understand that you are going through something right now. However, you saw the bad guy was on your tail. You understand that we need not to have this fall into his hand and the world end. I understand you're upset about your father. This is not the time. Whoop my behind when we get outside. Let's get away from here. They're like, oh, what happened to my dad? Oh,
yeah.
Do people completely forget danger?
Yeah.
Talk about this later. And then here comes the bad guy. And I'm like, see, Thanos wins again. Like, come on. That was just like a cut and paste moment, and it made me mad.
I mean, that's what I mean by cliche, because it's like, look, all of this
we did it already.
Yeah, it's like Layla has been a badass the entire series so far, but the last couple episodes, she said they've made her do stuff that was like she would not do this, just how y'all have already presented her before. She would not make these mistakes. Like, she would have had that discussion after they got out the tomb at a location where they could be somewhat semi-safe. That's when they would have had that discussion. I don't see her having that discussion in the tomb when you know Ethan Hawke's character is there and he has fully armed gunmen. So why in the world would you stop to have that conversation? And that's the cliched moment. That's the what I call hella cliched moment, because I'm like, dude, that's I hate when they do that.
She literally scoops Steven up off the ground, throws him on the bike, and takes off, and goes along with the fact that her husband, who she thought was her husband all these years, has a whole nother personality. Like, she rolled with it. That would have been the time to be like, no, we ain't doing nothing but talking about this. Mm-hmm. So in that moment, she would again been like, let me scoop you up and let's get out of here, and then I can whoop you behind. That ain't making no sense.
Yeah, I mean that was the problem with that episode. Now, the ending of that, because in this one, Mark does get shot. Harrow shoots him, and that's when the episode kind of flips a little bit, because it goes to an asylum, and at first I can understand why people thinking like, wait a minute, you mean to tell me the last 3.5 episodes have all been inside this man's head? No. It's their take on purgatory, basically. So it's a very interesting take on it. Also, we get to see the third personality, but it's stuck inside a sarcophagus. And after talking to some people, I personally think it's the Jake Lockley character who is the one that's the more vicious character. I think it is. I think that's the more vicious side of him. Is the Jake character. I could be wrong. So if y'all know, please let me know in the comments. But that red sarcophagus, I think, is his. And going through the whole, because this is basically the last 3 minutes of the episode, going through that whole sequence, I thought was actually a very interesting way to do the afterlife. Because right now we only got 2 more episodes to go. We know that they don't have Khonshu's powers. They got to find a way to get out of purgatory and release Khonshu in order for them to have a shot at stopping Ammit, because Harrow has Ammit's stone encasing. So there's one of those situations where we know that something's got to happen next episode. I just don't know what. But I did like how it ended, because it ended on a cliffhanger, but it actually was an actual good cliffhanger to me, because it sets up like another god actually coming in, another Egyptian god coming in and trying to help. And I actually kind of like that.
That was cool. They opened the door and like what is that? Hippo?
Hippo, yeah.
He was like, ah!
Like both of them screaming.
Yeah,
like,
that was hilarious. But but I agree, it was cool how they did like the third personality in the sarcophagus, and then when you look down the hallway, there was multiple doors on each side, setting up for multiple personalities to be behind each door.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was really cool. That was a great setup. They were telling us there is another personality. Hey, but there is another personality. You ain't got to meet them yet, because we don't want to confuse the foolishness.
Yeah, just know that there's we know that there's other personalities. We know that. So that's basically saying comic book fans, chill out. we know about these other personalities.
We can't give you everything now. Hold on.
Yeah. So what did you think about the? Because I love the visual effects this week. I thought they were actually done really well. What did you think?
Yeah, no, they were good. Like, it wasn't anything over the top. It didn't take away from the story. So I think they did just the right amount.
Yeah. Another thing that I didn't talk about, they did a good job on the music, setting up those tension scenes. A lot of times you don't give enough praise to like the soundtrack. They did a very good job. Because like I said, the reason the jump scare scene is probably going to work for most people because of the music that they put to it. My thing is, I've seen so many different jump scares from different movies and TV shows that I can see it coming a mile away, so it doesn't really get me. So the one jump scare that they did have in here, it was like, okay, yeah, it's coming, yeah, there it goes, yeah, there's a jump scare, yay, y'all did it. But the music in that sequence, I think, is what really helped set the tone. That and the whole thing with Haro having Ethan Hawke is killing it, because the thing is that character does not raise his voice. I don't think there's anything scarier than somebody that doesn't raise his voice.
That's creepy.
That is just creepy. So when he gets mad, he doesn't raise his voice. So it's one of those things where it makes it extra creepy. So I once again, I enjoy what they're doing. I understand what they're doing. Bring on the next episode. So because we only got 2 more, so it's 2 more weeks of Moon Knight, and then we'll be getting ready for Obi-Wan, and then we'll be on to Ms. Marvel after that. So yeah, 2 more weeks of Moon Knight, and I am still very much I'm very much into this. So any last thoughts before we go to Halo?
No, I look forward to seeing what the last 2 weeks bring us. Are we going to get a guest appearance by anybody for the last episode, do you think?
I would hope so, but I don't know who you bring. I mean, do you? I would hope that they bring what's his name? Mahershala Ali as Blade, but
that's what I'm thinking. Like Blade, I feel like since they have announced him, we know he's there.
Yeah.
Out of everybody else, like we know his existence, and they can easily throw him in.
And we know that they're doing Midnight Suns as a Disney Plus show, so
yeah. So
why not? Either him or Robbie Reyes is Ghost Rider.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see. We shall see.
We shall see. So, all right, Halo episode 5, appropriately titled Reckoning. Hey, gotta give them points for title, because this one was appropriately titled. Shortest episode so far. It was like 40 minutes. I'm like, okay. Good points about this episode is to the point. They get to the point.
Halsey's husband. What's his name?
Captain. He's the captain.
Okay.
They didn't say his last name. He's dead. He's gonna die.
Halsey's husband. He was there when they picked John. I was like, oh man, you part of the bad. Like you knew what your wife was doing, but you was there active with it. Oh, child.
Oh, boy.
I don't know. As soon as I saw him, I'm like, as soon as I saw her doing a tour of the,
and then the camera slowly pans over. You're like wow, bro.
No, bruh. And I was like, well, and then when Halsey blackmails old girl to be like, well, what would the Admiral say? Somebody's gonna be scapegoat, probably you, sis, huh? So it felt like when he was like, listen, I just want my daughter off of this so she doesn't get blowback. And it's like, okay, Dad's definitely gonna die. We've been saying it from the jump, and he's a black man, so he gotta go.
And he's halfway decent.
Yeah, and he's a decent black father. They gotta kill him. They gotta kill him because they got Soren. That's too many decent black fathers. They can't too many. Hold on, we reached our quota with one. Gotta get rid of this one. So we guys, it's just like, oh man. And then obviously white people doing white people stuff, messing with artifacts. And going slow with this artifact. You know that the Covenant is out here looking for stuff. You know they looking for stuff. They out here killing people, looking for stuff. Why are you taking your time with the little brush dusting off the thing? No!
You rip the whole ground up and take it with it.
Yeah, right. You don't even have to like take it out of the thing. You just gotta dig up under it, lift it up, and get it off the planet. The fact that it was still on the planet, everybody deserved it because they were stupid. Like, you know you're stealing something from the Covenant. Why are you taking so long to do it?
And you know they like to do sweeps and ambushes. You know this.
So why? So I was like, when you know, and then once it sent out the pulse thing,
oh, like, yep.
That would have been like, oh, come on, time to go, time to go.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Not like, oh, my ears. No, dig it up, get it out, which you should have did in the first place. But okay, now, obviously, that was a beacon of some sort. Now, get it up, get it out.
Yeah. But this episode, the slow parts of it were actually not bad this week because Chief is now knowing that everybody's lying to him because the captain lied to him and he could tell. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, bruh, I wouldn't tell him I was there, but I would tell him, look, man, there's a lot of stuff that's going on. It ain't as cut and dry as you think. Or something. But so the straight up lie.
So they just kidnapped all them kids and killed their parents?
Essentially.
But
the plague thing was a lie. The plague thing had to be a lie if they were still on that planet. So the whole plague thing that they sent out to the rest of the colonies had to be they went in and killed them.
Yeah. So then here's my question. There's orphans everywhere. Why wouldn't you just take orphans?
Well, in the actual lore, they did do that. So
okay, in the actual lore, they took the orphans.
Yeah, they took orphans. Yeah, they did orphans, and they took orphans.
Okay, because at least if you take kids from happy homes,
that's different. Then
you know what? They probably are more well adjusted and easier to program than orphans who already would be more likely to rebel against you across the board. So actually, yeah, you are better off taking happy, healthy kids versus orphans that have been through some things.
Yeah. Now, the other thing too is Chief notices that Kai is acting strangely. So he asks her when she took her pellet out, and she tells him, and he abruptly grounds her, which I think was a bad move. It was just, it doesn't make sense to just like ground her just because she took her pellet out. If anything, you should be telling the other two to take theirs out. If anything. Now, once again, I understand why they have it in there, and they try to make it seem like that, like there's a reason why it was there, so they can make the right calls for military-wise instead of doing, the right thing. But at the same time, I just feel like it makes them a little bit more closer to the team that's in the game, because the team the squad he rolls with in the game is actually, they're very personable and likable. This show just made them all kind of robots, and it kind of didn't work for me at first. But I actually kind of like how with them having that out, they can actually be more human-like or whatever instead of robots or androids or whatever you want to call it, because that's basically what they are. So if you had any doubts about Halsey being Halsey, yeah, they doing a real good job of just being like, yeah, she pretty much is out for herself for the most part. Although they did try to make her act like she cared about her daughter. So the Covenant, once Chief gets angry and touches the artifact again, he sees the rest of his memories, and he is monumentally pissed. So he lunges at Halsey, which in turn Cortana has to shut him down. The pulse goes out, the beacon goes out, so the Covenant pretty much know, the Covenant and Maki now know where they are, and the sweep and the ambush happens. Which at this point they're pretty much, I don't want to say, were they really outnumbered? I don't want to say they were outnumbered. They were just caught off guard. I'll put it like that. Because the way they shot that scene was actually pretty good, because it's just chaos. Like, it's all out chaos.
But like, here's my thing.
Mm-hmm.
How dumb are they? Or how, never not dumb. New word. How arrogant are they to think that the Covenant isn't constantly going to be on their tail? Like, that's my thing. How were you, like, you didn't fully prepare for the Covenant to come at any given second.
They should have had backup. They should have had like backup off planet. Like the Covenant had a ship waiting in the atmosphere. They should have too.
Yeah.
They should have had somewhere where like
they did not do any type of planning.
Yeah. So, but the good thing about this, and this is for fans of the game, now you get to see not only the elites, you get to see the grunts, the jackals, and you actually get to see a brute. The only problem is the grunts don't say nothing, which I'm like, I was expecting them to break the fourth wall, make it like a little bit more chattery. They didn't do that. They just pretty much were there to get mowed down and mow people down, because there was a couple people who they died in messed up ways.
Yeah.
So also this sequence here shows you just how unhinged Chief can be, because he pretty much beat an elite to death.
Well, it was the elite was standing over his peoples.
Yeah. So Kai, I don't know what was happening to Kai. She was taking him out, and then all of a sudden, I guess she started having a heart attack.
Well, because she was seeing everybody die, her anxiety, she was basically having an anxiety attack.
Okay.
She had a full-blown panic attack. Just being overwhelmed by everything that was going on, seeing so many people dying, so much going on. And you know, if her pellet was still in, she would never experience that. But now, first time experiencing anxiety. Could you imagine?
Yeah, that
level of the war.
Yeah,
like
that level, and so yeah.
It's a
so the other ship, and this is why I said they made Halsey. They tried to make Halsey a little bit more likable toward the end, because she does go back to get her daughter.
Yes.
I thought she was not going to do that. I really thought she was not going to do that.
I'm like, finally, something. Like, she's not a complete. I mean, she is horrible.
Yeah, she's horrible.
She does have something in which she was, you know, I think she would let the whole world burn while she saved her husband, her daughter, and John. Now, in terms of those three, I think she would save John and let her husband and daughter burn. But in that moment, she would save her daughter and her husband and John, and then everybody else can die. So,
like, in other words, there's going to be a lot of bloodshed, but those four are going to be fine.
Exactly.
But yeah, I thought that was actually okay. The CG on this episode, I think, took a downgrade to me. I don't know why. It just didn't look good. It didn't look good. So, but I think
the budget. You got to be careful with the budget. Like, all right, well, we could probably trim some things over here.
Yeah. I mean, because like the whole thing with the battle, it's meant to be chaotic. So it's happening. Things are happening fast in that battle. So you're gonna notice it, but you're not gonna notice it. And what I mean by that is you're gonna notice some stuff is gonna look off, but so much stuff is going on around you that you're gonna be like, okay, I see how they got around it. But the CG does look bad in this episode. It just does. I'm not even finna lie about that. It does look bad in this episode. I just think in the way they have the motion going and the chaotic nature of how that battle was going, I think you can kind of overlook it a little bit, but yeah, it is bad. Maki, the blessed one, decides to go down to the planet. So apparently this was all a setup to get her, I guess, closer to the other artifact Keystone back on Reach. Mm-hmm. So, and I thought you was about to kill her. I thought you was going to blow her head off.
Listen. Never trust somebody with Children of the Corn hair coming from the Covenant. All right?
The funny thing about it is, why would they just drop her down there? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah. So I'm like, they should be questioning this simply for the fact that
she says, basically, they don't need me anymore. I was the one that was looking for this. They had me captive. I was there to look for the thing. Now they have it. They didn't need me and they threw me away. Now that's the way she can play it. That's the way I think that she should play it. Now I don't know what she's gonna say, but that's the way she should play it. Like, they got rid of me. They don't need me anymore.
Well, I would believe that if they haven't murdered everybody, every human they come in contact with. Yeah. So
they needed me to find the stuff. So now
they just let me go.
They threw me away. They don't need me anymore.
Yeah. So pretty much we all know how this is going to play out. Well, you should know how this is going to play out because Maki is going to get to Reach because that's where the other one is. And if she touches it, now the question is, what's going to happen when she finds out Chief is just like her? Yep. Or the demon is just like her?
Yeah.
That's going to be a very interesting conversation. So this has 4 more episodes. What do you think overall?
I'm enjoying it so far. I'm along for the ride. I'm enjoying the foolishness of it all. So let's see what happens next.
Yeah, because they keep making mistake after mistake after mistake. But yeah,
well, I mean, if they do everything right, then the show will be over in the first episode.
Yeah. And I do have to say, because we do go to Quan and Soren on Madrigal. Once again, weakest part of the episode, I don't really care about this girl. Once again, I guess
they have 4 more episodes, so they didn't have to get her to the Mysticals immediately. They just had to.
But like this episode, you didn't really need them in it because they were literally in there for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, because literally you could jump straight to the Mystic part. Obviously, you knew they would go through some trials to get across the desert, but it wasn't necessary to.
Yeah.
To even have that part, they could have cut. They could have cut and saved some money, but at the same time, you don't know how they're probably filming everything across the board. So they're like, all right, well, we paid for this part, so we
got to put it somewhere. Yeah. So like I said, this is the shortest episode of season so far, and that was one of those things I'm like, yeah, you probably could have cut that out too. Just because it didn't add anything to the episode.
Yeah.
It's literally 5 minutes.
We know she's going to the Mystics. Just get her to the Mystics, okay?
Yeah, if you're not going to put the Mystics in that episode, then...
Yeah, and Mystics are probably just like the Blessed One and like John. They probably have something like that. Yeah. They're not human at all.
Because at this point, I just want them to get to the point with her so they can make that story make sense. Because right now it's the weakest part of all these episodes.
Yeah, she's meant for something. So let's get over to that part.
Yeah, because all this other stuff you're doing ain't working. So that being said, it wasn't a bad episode to me overall. Just because I think they got to the point. Like nothing felt like last week there was a couple of parts of the episode where like the stuff with that Governor General on Madrigal, I didn't care for that. I didn't care for that stuff. because he's such a mustache twirling villain. I'm like, dude, you suck at this because you're not really you're a cartoon character at this point, with your villainy or whatever. But this episode was like to the point more so than any of the other episodes this season, and I like that about it. So overall, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is interesting. I do want to see how they handle this whole Maki situation, because of course they're going to take her to Reach, which
of course, Halsey
is the biggest mistake they're gonna make. And,
like obviously, you should not take somebody who's with the Covenant for whoever knows however long back to where the other artifact is. Maybe you can take her somewhere else.
Yeah, like I would take her and drop off at Magical.
But Halsey's probably going to want access to her. So
yeah, so there's that. Cortana once again is the MVP of the episode just because she's awesome.
She's funny.
Yeah,
she her very well.
Yeah, she be talking trash. I love it. So next Thursday, people. Next Thursday is when episode 6 comes out. So 4 more episodes before season 1 is over. Leave a comment. Let us know what you guys think about that one. So Vicky, anything you want to pimp out before we get out of here?
Yeah, as always, check me out over on Fangirl Review on Twitch, also Fangirl Review on YouTube. On Wednesdays, this Wednesday we're having like a community chat and chew where we'll be crafting and chatting. So everybody's welcome. If you have a craft and you're not crazy, you're more than welcome to jump in. On Fridays, community night, but I will be playing Warzone with the BTC, the Black Twitch Collective, so that should be hilarious. I did dust it off, make sure 1, it was installed, 2, that it turned on, and there wasn't other updates. So, at some point in time, I'll actually, maybe play around to learn the buttons, maybe.
You might want to do that. You may want to do that.
Why do that? No. And on the 30th is the last day to nominate somebody for the for the BIPOC Streamer Awards. So make sure you go to BIPOCStreamerAwards.com. April 30th is your last day. Get in your nomination. Oh, and May 7th is my birthday subathon. That's not my actual birthday, but that's when my schedule worked to host it. Come on by, torture me, pray for me, do both.
Okay. All right. So, Winging the Podcast is tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So come by, check us out. I think we got a good one for you guys tonight. Other than that, still working on trying to get a more consistent schedule with the streaming. So just work with me on that a little bit. I do try to make sure I stream at least on Saturday at the very least, but I'm trying to make sure I get a couple other days in. So don't be surprised if you see me online a little bit this week because I do have some free days coming up. So I'll probably be doing a little bit streaming in the morning and in the afternoon, a couple days this week coming. So Winging the Podcast tonight, as a matter of fact, in about an hour and a half. So stop back by. The crew will be there, and we will see you guys there. Peace out, peeps.